Can you imagine spending 25 years in jail for a crime you did not commit? 3 years after getting his first degree, Dickson was struggling with the ladies. He kept falling in and out of love constantly, and by 25, he was seen as completely unlucky with the ladies. His friends would call him Simpson because they considered him an absolute simp. Everything a woman desired, he gave them. His last relationship had ended very poorly because though he loved to cherish and shower his women with gifts, they often took advantage of him. His last relationship, he'd actually spent money paying for university tuition of his then girlfriend in Italy, only for her to break up with him one day after graduation and then suddenly announce her wedding a week after their breakup. These 21st century women were ruining love and relationships for him. And after this, Dickson really felt and believed that he was going to take some time for himself, get some therapy, and heal. He had lost his self-esteem, and quite frankly, he was tired of love and relationship. Enter Erica, a 30-year-old woman, divorced, mother to a 15-year-old child, and, as it so happens to be, a therapist with a PhD in human psychology. Erica proposed a 3-week intensive therapy session where she would walk him through overcoming his inferiority complex. During these 3 weeks, Erica encouraged him to meet up at various locations like pubs, hotels, parks, and really unpack what he'd been going through over the past few years. The two got really close, and by the second week, the rehabilitation process was going very well. Dickson had opened up and he was sharing and slowly getting better at feeling more confident within himself. Little by little, Dickson started to develop feelings for Erica, and by the time their sessions were over, he was fully interested in starting something new. Erica, on the other hand, had spent years feeling like there were no good men following her abysmal divorce. So after meeting Dickson and getting to know him, she too realized that, you know what, good men still exist. Again, by the time their sessions were over, she too was interested in starting something with Dickson. So that's exactly what they did. The two decided to give it a shot, and Dickson was everything Erica expected and hoped for. He was kind, caring, attentive, showered her with love and attention, to the point where she was like, what was wrong with every other woman? He's a gem, he's an angel, he's perfect. However, Dickson, on the other hand, was receiving a lot of backlash from friends and family. All of them were like, she's old enough to be your mother. She's a grown woman. She just wants a father for her kid. But Dickson was strong-minded and strong-willed. He said that Erica was exactly who he'd been looking for this whole time. Doesn't matter her age. Things got serious very quick. And by the time they'd been dating for 6 months, Dickson had proposed. Erica joyfully said yes, and immediately Dickson moved into her apartment with her child even before the wedding preparations started. One random Tuesday afternoon, Dickson left work early. He'd been a little bit stressed with wedding preparations. He was just tired. He came home to rest. Upon entering the house, he heard some strange sounds coming from Erica's child's bedroom. He entered and found Anna, Erica's 15-year-old daughter, watching an X-rated movie. She quickly closed the laptop, and Dickson decided to use his opportunity to talk to her one-on-one, though he hadn't had a chance to before. So Dickson sits on her bed and says, look, darling, I understand that you're growing, that your body is changing, you are having thoughts and feelings, but you shouldn't be consuming this kind of content. You're still young. Maybe talk to your mother about your thoughts and feelings and find something better to watch. Strangely, Anna felt a connection, an admiration, and a little bit of a crush towards Dickson in that moment. Not having grown up with a father figure, something just tickled her fancy, and she leaned in, attempting to kiss Dickson. Immediately, Dickson shoved her away and in anger told her that this was completely inappropriate and he wanted nothing like that. In that moment, Anna completely broke down crying. Dickson, stressed, perplexed, and not wanting to be in this situation any longer, quickly left the room and left the house completely to clear his head. By the time Dickson finally returned home, Erica had long returned back from work. The house was quiet, everyone was asleep. It was past midnight. He quickly entered, slipped into bed, not expecting the following morning. The following morning, Dickson woke up to complete commotion. He entered the living room to find out that the police had surrounded the house completely and were asking to see him. He was being arrested for assaulting a minor. Dixon was completely confused, perplexed, but that didn't matter. He was handcuffed and quickly escorted into a van. Erica stood at the front door, hugging her daughter Anna, unable to look him in the eyes. The case was sent to trial, and the evidence levied against Dixon was completely baffling. According to the evidence, whilst Erica was away at work, Dixon had left his work early, arrived at an empty house, assaulted Anna that had resulted in trace amounts of left on her sheets. During the trial, Dixon cried bitterly, confused and perplexed at how this could be the story when he knew he'd done nothing. But his tears did nothing for his case. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. His life was shattered. His family, friends, everybody who'd ever known him distanced themselves from him. Some even went so far as to tell him, "We told you so." That woman was bad news from the beginning. And there he sat for the next 25 years until he was eventually released from prison on good behavior. 25 years time served instead of 40. Thankfully, a cousin of his accepted to house him, but Dixon was already 50. No house, no money, no job, no wife, no kids. Who was going to employ him? Who was going to trust him with anything so late in life? But Dixon had given his life to Christ. He spent his time praying, talking to God, hoping for a solution. And that odd solution came one random day. Anna was at the gate, wanting to speak to him. Initially, Dixon's cousin refused, but Dixon said, "You know what? Let us hear what she has to say." By this time, Anna was a grown woman, married with kids of her own. She came in crying and begging, sobbing for forgiveness. She said her mother Erica had passed away a few days ago without ever hearing the truth. So she was now here to confess and offer Dixon a job and some money for him to restart his life. Dixon said, "What truth? Explain yourself." In that moment, Anna confessed. She stated that back when she was 15 and Dixon had rejected her, she felt embarrassed, angry, and very, very. The moment Dixon had left the house, Anna had called a male friend of hers to her house and they together in her bed. In that afternoon, she had lost her virginity, which explained the traces of found on her sheets. However, by the time the guy friend had left, she was embarrassed and so very ashamed of how she was going to explain this whole mess to her mother. Deciding that Dixon had already rejected her, she was now going to turn the tables on him and blame him for the whole fiasco. She never expected it to get as far as it had gone. By the time her mother had come home that evening, she confessed to the whole situation and stated that Dixon was the one to have assaulted her. But now her mother had passed away, she never knew the truth, and Anna was plagued with guilt. Dixon stood there processing, shedding a few tears as he realized that his life had been stolen from him due to a 15-year-old's lie. His cousin turned to him and said, "So now what will you do? Will you take her job and money?" Now that's an entangled web. That's all I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms. We drop a new video every single Saturday, and I'll catch you in the next one.